Hey folks, today we're going to check out what I have found to be one of the best value EDC knives currently on the market. There are a ton of people who love just extremely high quality knives, do knife reviews all the time. I'm not one of those people. I value a knife as a tool. It's something you always have to have on you. It's something that different knives are definitely better for different scenarios, but my main purpose of this channel is not necessarily knife reviews. If you're really interested in knife reviews and want to check out just extreme detail on tons of different knives, go check out Nut & Fancy. The dude's got a really cool channel to begin with, but he does quality reviews on just about every decent knife out there. So with that in mind, we're just going to talk about this knife that I carry and kind of what I've learned about it and why I like it. There are a whole bunch of really nice knives out there. I have a bunch of friends who carry Benchmades or just really nice knives like that. But I think when you talk about quality, you first have to talk about context. Because if you're just talking about quality without any sort of, hey, why do I need this? Why would I carry it? In what situation would I use this? Then you just end up stacking quality on quality and quality and spending tons of money on a luxury item. And really, I'm about being a lot more practical than that. Yeah, I do like really nice gear, but you need to put context to quality when you're examining quality. And so this knife I found is one of the better values out there today. It's a Gerber. Typically, I've been a big fan of Kershaw knives in the past, but I'm not necessarily a brand fanboy that one's better than the other. But I've carried a Gerber for a long time. And just right out of the box, this thing, first of all, it's called the Evo. They make it in several sizes. This is the mid-size. And this is kind of a combination of ideas here. They make it in a couple different sizes. Again, this is a mid-size. And they also make it with a couple different blade options. They make it with just a regular standard curved blade. They make it with the serrated blade, they make it without the serrated blade, they make it in a smooth point, they make it in a tanto point. So for my purposes, for everyday carry, I went with this knife because it has a little bit of everything. I found the tanto point is useful for if I'm really needing to get in there and do detail work, or if I'm needing to cut out something small. It basically gives you the equivalent of a very small knife blade. But having a straight edge here, you can use it just like your regular knife as well, whether it's opening packages, kind of no matter what it is. And if you need to really be hacking through something, you have your serrations there. So for EDC, I really enjoy that this knife has a little bit of everything. Because it has both the tanto point and the serrations, this thing sucks to sharpen. I'll admit it. It is a pain in the butt. And if you wanted this knife for maybe a dedicated camping knife or backpacking knife, or I wouldn't recommend it as a hunting knife, but for any specific purpose, I would look at what blade combination fits your purpose best, and I would order that one, because they do make it in several blade combinations, which is cool. A lot of knives, you order one knife, it comes with one blade. So this you can get, I think, 3 or 4 different blade combinations with it. The whole knife weighs 2.4 ounces, which is incredibly light. That's less than my smartphone, less than my wallet, definitely less than my keys. It's hard to find a quality knife that's that lightweight. And it's lightweight because the handle is anodized aluminum, but it's also vented. It's drilled out really just to maintain the structure and reduce weight. I mean, maybe that's decorative too, but I like to think that that's just to reduce weight. So it's incredibly light, but being light, it still has a stainless steel blade, which is very nice. I don't have to worry about this thing getting wet, starting to rust. It's a stainless steel blade with a titanium nitride finish, so that's really just a coating that's put on it that makes it a little bit more scratch resistant, a little bit more durable, and also gives you that darker finish without being black paint. There are a lot of cheaper knives that achieve that finish by either powder coating it or just essentially painting the knife or Duracoating it. I like that this is actually a chemical finish opposed to some form of a paint job on the knife. Now this whole knife shipped to my house I got for under $30, which is pretty incredible. I think Gerber lists it as $30 as their MSRP. I think I paid $22 for it plus shipping and got it delivered here for just under $30. You can find this thing at Home Depot, you can find this thing at Walmart, you can find it online on a ton of different sites. But when we really start talking about quality in a context, I have to ask myself, would I rather have one Benchmade that's a great knife, or would I rather have 4 of these? To me, that's a really easy question. I also like the way it folds up. Now it's got your, zoom in here real quick. It's got your standard internal lock right there, so you just push that down. Focus a little better. So you push that down to fold it in, and it folds up and then locks in place. It's pretty standard on a lot of Gerber knives and a lot of other knives that use that system. But I really like this little tab on the blade. When you fold it up, it works like an assisted opening knife. It's not spring assisted, which I kind of like. In some places they're illegal, which is stupid. Not here, I'm in Texas. But this works like a spring assisted knife without being spring assisted. And I like that just because if you have a spring assisted knife, that spring and the parts associated with it are probably the most likely thing to break. This isn't even an extra part. You can see it's physically connected to the blade. It's just a part of the blade that they cut out. So really there's not many parts you could potentially break on this knife. And to open it, you just push down on that and it opens every bit as fast as any spring assisted knife there is out there. Now I'm showing this with my right hand, but I'm obviously left-handed. See, that time I did it a little weak. But if you give it some force, say if you do it weak, it's not going to open all the way. If you give it some force, it'll flip right open. And it's got that little stop tab right there that obviously holds the knife in place really well when it's open. But you can also use it as a more traditional, just push the tab to open. And so depending on how I need to use the knife, a lot of times I'll pull it out of my pocket and I'll flip it to open. And sometimes if I'm using it with my offhand or I need to open it more slowly, I'll use that little push tab. I prefer this little thing on the back though. And it's even got ridges on there. I don't know if you can see that. So it's pretty grippy, because if you're wearing gloves or your hands are wet, you could slip right off of that. But with it having some grip on there, really easy to open. So I like that a lot. The clip is right here. It has the same finish as the blade. The one thing that I'm really not happy with about this knife is that the clip is always right here and always curves inward. It would be really nice if Gerber thought to go ahead and tap some holes on the back side of this knife right up here so that you could actually carry it down the other way. Because I always carry in my left front pocket, so it forces the knife to sit like this. And so I can pull it out, rotate it, and then use it. But as a lefty, it would be even nicer if it could just be situated the other way, so as I'm pulling it out, it's already oriented correctly. And that's just me being nitpicky, but that's why I do these reviews. It'd be nice if you could change the orientation of this clip, or even put it on the other side. You might be able to, it's got these holes right here, you might be able to put it on the other side. I don't think it's necessarily intended to do that. It might work in there, I'm not sure. I wouldn't want to put it on the other side. I would want to put it right here. But all in all, this knife has performed extremely well. It's a pain to sharpen, as I mentioned earlier, but we're going to do a little paper cut test just to show you that this knife can still be extremely sharp for a $22 knife. Like, oh, it does the paper test pretty well. I mean, not perfectly. We got a tiny bit of tear, but compared to anything else at this price range, that's as good as you're gonna get. So again, this is my EDC knife. I hope to pick up another one or maybe a couple of these in the different blade combinations. But this is a knife that I would really recommend to anyone out there looking to pick up a new EDC knife, and they have to be a little bit budget conscious about their decision.